All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Let's jump straight into it. Have a quick look at the bigger time frames, and then we're going to start trading the DAX and the DOWs. One of the guys just asked, I think it was AB just now, what was that yellow line on the daily high on the setups that they sent out this morning? And that's exactly where we are right now. Look at this yearly high low on the Dow. Look at this resistance level. It's the high of the consolidation area. We're sitting right there, that's 61.8. Above that, we want to be long, we're targeting the 89. In our way there, 50 moving average. So it'll be the first time, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth week that we are away from the 50 moving average on end of week. Very possible that we can go back and respect that. But very strong resistance right now. We need to get a clear break. We've got today and tomorrow before we get a new weekly candle there. Let's see what it's going to do by the end of tomorrow, where it closes. It was FOMC yesterday, and we could just see how that dropped off really hard and then recovered. But really strong resistance. If we look at the moving averages on the end of week, the trend is still down. Still down, stochastic below its own consolidation area. That signal line is still very high. And that's been coming for pretty much the whole of last year. That I was sitting above that 89. Came off quite hard. But we can see how that signal line is starting to catch up slowly but surely. We've got no stochastic figures here for us to look for long. So we're really just looking at these support and resistance levels. And as I said, above that 61, we're aiming for 77, 89. Ultimately, at some stage, we're going to respect 50. On end of day, monthly high low in consolidation. Now, we always say this. We get into the consolidation area so often we see the other side. We're at that 50, and that's where we're finding a bit of resistance. Now, so often when we have a day like yesterday, we have an insight. I'm not going to predict what the market's going to do today. We're going to trade what we see. So far, it's quite sideways, which is not unusual for after a FOMC or a news day. In consolidation, above the 61, we want to be long. Below the 38, we want to be short. So this can move now. 38. Targeting the 11. Resistance at the moment is at that 50, and then our support obviously at the low of the consolidation area. Very close to that 50 moving average. I won't be surprised if we still respect that today. Green and red, if we look at our 821, very close to a crossover here. If we can get that crossover, break the 50 moving average, we can aim for these higher targets, at least the 89 and the 155, but immediate resistance on the moving averages is that 50. Again, we'll see what the end of today brings, the end of tomorrow, whether we're going to get this crossover or if we are going to sit inside of this consolidation. We've got some time. We've got a full 2 weeks left for this month. So a nice long month. We've got time to see if we can get to these levels. Right now in consolidation, look how the stochastic is talking to our consolidation area there on the fib as well. Right at the 50. What I do like here is the fact that the signal line is nice and low stochastic. Finding a bit of resistance at that 50, if we can get the nice clear follow through, then specifically break that 61.8. Yes, we've got some nice upside targets that we could aim for there. But as I said, the trend is still down on end of day. Weekly high low. We could get that trigger long. So we know about the trigger long day before, hit those targets, and we got a trigger long again yesterday, hit that 127 perfectly, and then came off a little bit from there. But sideways movement around that 127. We've got nice big ranges this week as well. Next short now will only be a candle close. Below the 100, break previous candle low. We're aiming for that 61.8, the high of the consolidation area. Stop will be about halfway. However, possibility we can still go to the 161. That was a nice trigger, hit that 127, and in between all of that, we had that news coming out, FOMC and the Fed talking. And this is where we had these big spikes. So we didn't get a trigger short below the 100. That big spike, short would have been up. We never broke those lows. The trigger long again wasn't a great risk to reward, so we wouldn't have taken that. So if you caught that, well, at least that was, when I are talking about that this morning, you know, on our stats, it's pretty much a stop to entry, but that was a 46 point run from entry there. And, you know, generally when we get such a nice run, it's quite clever to put a sort of a trailing stop, or at least bank some of those profits. You don't want to get a 300 point profit, go back to a zero. It is up, green above red, above the 50 moving average, telling us we want to stay long at least until that 161 target level, which is valid until tomorrow, end of tomorrow still. Stochastic's above the 89. As long as it stays above that 89, we want to remain long. And a nice little run. I won't be surprised if we get a little bit of retracement before we go up. But any time will tell there. Signal line is above the 89. The reason I say that is generally when we get that signal line above 89 and we break down through it, down through the 89, follow through down through the 80, we at least go back to the 50 moving average. As we've gone a bit sideways throughout Asian session this morning, 50 moving average catching up quite rapidly. Night hour we'll get to in a little bit. ABCs has done its thing. We reached those channel targets. We've reached ABC targets. Of course, we can go to extended targets, but look at this possible double top on hourly. We must watch for that. A break of that we can go. So if we look at that firm, at least we can aim for that 127 level, and we can get to extended target levels there if we do move up. So we're going to give that a little bit of time. If this is the end of C, which I really like, if you look at the time there, kind of done a C, we can expect a little bit of a retracement there, but we're going to trade what we see, not what we think. On the 5 minute, there's our daily high-low. So inside, the bigger consolidation between the 100 and the 0. If we do get a candle close above 100, aiming for 127, 161. Now, it's a nice range. It doesn't look it. It's a really nice range. If we look at that first target from the 100 to the 127, it gives about 210 points, which is really nice. Otherwise, shorts below the 38.2, aiming for the 23 first target, stop to entry, and 11 as our ultimate profit. If we get above these levels, we'll reassess on the shorts, but at the moment, that's what we've got. Just now, a couple of minutes ago, when Europe opened, we did get a stochastic trigger on 5 minutes, signal line above the consolidation, stochastic down through 50. That was a nice little run on the stochastic. If I look at that, it was about 150 drop from high to that swing low. But look at this 155 moving average, how it's holding as support. The moving average did become a little bit messy with the sideways movement. We can just see it better on 5 minutes during the Asian session. A little bit of a push down and then just very, very sideways. It is really a little bit unidentifiable at the moment. If we look at that green and red on top of each other, 50, as I said, those moving averages, because of the sideways movement, have gone very, very very close to each other, sort of sitting on top of each other. We're going to have to wait. We've got 9 minutes to go before the UK Open, so hopefully we're going to find some sort of direction there. On the NASDAQ, resistance, so unlike the Dow, resistance on end of week is the consolidation. Yeah, resistance right now is the low consolidation area. And also still down. And this 89 zone moving average, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of support around that level just now. That's been very, very strong. If we can break these lows, we still got our target level of the 11, and then below that, 155 moving average, which we have not respected in the longest of times. It was really that COVID crash the last time that we saw that 155 zone moving average. Of course, that is catching up quite a rapid pace as well. The stochastic is still telling us to stay short as long as it's below the consolidation area there and trading below the 50 moving average. Monthly high-low, the consolidation. So we closed back inside. We haven't broken those highs, possibly a little double top level there. We'll see it on the hourly in a sec. If we can break the highs of yesterday, so often we go and see the other side, or at least the 50. And look at how the 50 moving average is talking to the 50 level of our fib. It's talking to the 50 level of our stochastic. By the time, if we do get to those levels, everything there is going to talk to each other. And then all we want to do is look for a breakout, regardless of which direction we're going to. A little bit sideways at the moment, but the trend on end of there is still down. Weekly high low, got that trigger long above 100, and that's still in play. Decent enough risk to reward there last night. Candle closed above the 100, broke previous candle high, and we're aiming for the 127, 161 outstanding. Also very nice ranges there for us on the NASDAQ if you look at that as trading. Otherwise, if we do come down, we've got quite nice high enough to start looking for the possibility. There's a possible double top I was talking about, very, very close there. From the highs to the hundreds, 145 odd points. Quite happy to take the short candle close, break previous candle low. The reason for that is if we look at our moving averages, green, red, red to blue, that blue talking to that 61.8, which will ultimately be our target level there. Remember, away, back, away. At some stage, we're going to respect that 50 moving average, whether it catches up or we trade all the way back down. That's why I like this setup for lows or for shorts below the 100 all the way back to the 61.8. And the stochastic will talk to us there as well. Signal line above the 89. Stochastic is sort of testing it. If we can get a nice follow through down, how often we go back to the 50 moving average. ABC's changed a little bit, but we're just trailing. For me, that's still the first leg up, a leg up. So let's draw this in a little bit. I really haven't got anything there on the bigger time frames for ABCs on the NASDAQ. But as we get closer to the afternoon session, when we're going to trade it, I will update that chart for us. Very high low, similar to the Dow, we will need to break the highs of yesterday. Candle close above that, aiming for 127, 161. The stochastic also gave us a little trigger short earlier on, along with the Dow with that European opening. On our daily high low, only longs above 100, shorts below 38.2. The trend also a little bit messy, same as the Dow, but a sideways. And it's just, again, this happens quite often when we have FOMC and FP news days, we tend to go a little bit sideways. Opening range we'll get to in a little bit, catch up with the ALSI. A lot of people asking me what's going to happen with this. The ALSI's got a mind of its own. All we can really do is watch and see what it does. Look at those big wicks and tails on end of week. Playing around that 100. So we've had big swings, and we can just see these big weeks that we've had, big peaks and wicks and tails that we've had. But really sideways around this 100 this whole year already. The range has been phenomenal, actually. So it's been quite a nice thing to trade on 5 minutes. 9,000 points, that's already the range. It doesn't look all that much, but it's because we've got these wicks and tails on these two candles, sideways around that 100. If we look at that short below the 100, pretty much one candle all the way to the 50 moving average, just about with that 61.8. So now above this 100 again, we're looking for 127, ultimately 161, a little bit sideways on end of week. And however, still up into the moving averages, and stochastic also telling us to stay long. Again, we got that stochastic down through the signal line, not quite at the 89, but nice and high above 80 level, down through the signal line, so very close to that 50 moving average. But there we can see how messy it actually is with all these gaps that we get. And it's also has to do with a lot of the news and stuff that's going on internationally with Russia and FOMC and all of those things, but especially with the war story going on with Russia and Ukraine. We know the war only trades until 5:30. So what happens is we get all these big moves with the Dow at night, or even with the Asian markets and the wee hours in the morning. And this is why we're getting these gaps. But we know at some stage all gaps get full. It doesn't have to happen the same time, same day, same week, or in the same month. Time these gaps do get full. Right now, I'm looking for longs above the 61.8, aiming for the 89. Now, yesterday, we opened right below here at the 127. We pushed up all the way through the zero. So above that zero, if you trade this time frame, we want it to stay long. If you keep overnight positions, that would have hit the target level of the 38.2. So hence, I'm looking for longs above the 61.8 now. I need to see that 50 level before we can start looking at shorts below the consolidation area. So our short level still, once again now, because we've closed above all of those levels, the zero specifically, we can start aiming at 127 again. One stage, little gap here will get full. There's no doubt about it. And I cannot tell you when that's going to happen. There's still some gaps to the upside here as well. So we made those record highs in the beginning of the month, and it gave us quite a gap there. Nothing like there, but there was still a gap of a couple of 100 points. It still needs to be full at some stage. Resistance at that 50 support at 38.2. Trend, however, still down. The signal line is catching up nicely. It's in the consolidation area. It's still above the 50. If it gets below, we can start looking for setups on end of day on the stochastic, but nothing really there for us. It's in consolidation. That consolidation area, talking to that consolidation area. Weekly high-low messy. It's difficult to trade these weekly high-lows when we get these massive gaps. So again, this morning, the possibility was there for a candle close above the ones, the 61.8, aiming for that 89. But that gap just pushed us all the way to that 89 level. So we're looking for longs above the 100. And for the 127, the 161, shorts only below the consolidation area. So we're kind of stuck between these levels. Just watch for the possibility of a little double. We got very, very close. For me, that is close enough for possibility of a little top at the highs. So that 100. Holding. But if we know if we can break that, we can aim for those bigger targets. The trend is up on hourly. Stochastic suggests we want to stay long. It's trading above the 89 level. This is, again, we've got to start all over with that. And it's over here. So it's messy on the ABCs because for me, this is still a leg up. Huge gaps here. I mean, you can't even see the smaller degrees within that because of those gaps. So really only got possible 0 to 8 in the blue over a couple of days, 1-2 days. But that's even the possibility of a little red A because we don't have so much time there. So all I can do is just trail those until we get at least a little bit of a retracement there, and all of this mess becomes a little bit more stable. Trends up, as we know, on the hourly. 5 minutes. Our daily high-low trading between the 127 and 161. Again, we were looking for the possibility of longs above the 100 at the close of yesterday. But then we had that gap opening around that 127. But nothing there for us for longs. We only have the possibility now. Sorry, this needs to move. Of a candle close below the 127, and we're aiming for that 100 level. Which gives us a range of about 400 odd points, 420 points. Which is quite nice. What I do like about this short, if we get that candle close, break previous candle low, target level is the close of that gap. And that can happen today. I'm not saying it will, but it can. For sure, if we get that trigger, I'll be very keen to look at that short. Stochastic, I mean, moving average is suggesting the trend is up. Stochastic, again, broken signal line above the 89. It's even broken the 80. We need that follow through now, down, to see if we're going to get to that 50 moving average. And I'm really starting to like this possible short setup because 50 moving average is talking to my 100 level target as well as the close of that gap. So I'm quite interested in keeping an eye on that as we're trading on the left-hand side to catch that little short. Yeah, the range, as I said, is about 420 points, which is lovely. Okay, we've just opened on the FTSE. I just want to catch up with the DAX very quickly. Then we're going to jump. We're going to jump straight into 1 minute trading. So monthly high-low. This needs to move because that target level's now been reached. So I had that long above the 0. It took us about 3 or 4 days, but that reached target yesterday. 38.2. The next long is above the 70, above the 61.8. We're aiming for 89. 50 moving average still in our way. Similar to the rest of the markets on end of day, quite possibly still going to see that today. Moving average is also getting very close crossing over. We're going to keep an eye on that throughout today. We're going to have to close nice and green today to have that crossover confirmation by tomorrow. Again, on the monthly high low, we've got a bit of time at these levels. Then still, as we look at it, a little bit of time because green is below red. We want to see the stochastic follow through, break that 61.8 signal line is nice and low, and we can really start getting excited about some moves up here. Cloud triggered long yesterday. That hasn't stopped out, reached first target, didn't even come back to entry. So that's nice and play still, aiming for that 161. However, if we do start turning around, we can start looking at shorts below the 100, aiming for the 61.8. Trend is up. Stochastic suggests we want to stay long. Just watch the same story. Down through its own signal line above the 89, often we go back to the 50 moving average. That can happen. 50 moving average is still above the 100, is above the 100 level now because we've gone very sideways throughout the night. As we know, that catches up quite quickly. A nice little ABC here. If we look at that 0A, possible B retracement. It's quite a shallow retracement there for me, but I did put the measurement in there. We've hit that first ABC target, 61.8, perfectly. We're at that 77. 89 is our target. Now, so often what we do is we get to that 77 and then we turn around and go down. Of course, if we can break the highs of this morning, we should see that target level of 89, and we can still get extended targets out of that as well. On 5 minutes, same as pretty much all of our markets, we're just below the highs of yesterday. Candle close above the 100, aiming for the 127, 161, below the consolidation area, aiming for the 23 and 11. Moving averages, a little bit messy. Let's see if this opening is going to give us some direction. All right, let's jump to the 1 minute stories very quickly. Just want to pull this across. I just want to get my cameras on the left hand side quickly going. We can keep an eye on that. There we go. Start off for the Dow. Five-minute grid. We know we're trailing the highs. It was at the highs of last night. I want to see if we had a change at the lows there. I have not been trading this account for the last 2 days, but I've been busy with 3-day year in Centurion, and Monet is that time today, so I'll be around for the whole day. Let's see if we made the lows here. Sorry, say. I've still got it going from the lows of what day was that? Monday. Highs of last night. I got very close, but it's not no cigar there. We can't really move that line. If we start saying 0.5 and then 0.6 and then 0.7, eventually we're going to keep moving that. So for me, very close. I'm going to leave it right where it is. The 1 minute grid. Let's just quickly go puzzle where we are. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Extension for nice little extension from high to low there. Pull it in. It gives us a decent enough range as well. The setup just about to happen. I don't want to miss it. Look at this for me. Trend, retracement 77, 89%. Retracement break of the 38.2. We're aiming for the 23. 50 moving average is in our way. Sorry, we're still here. I'm going to put a buy sell stop in there quickly. Just watch that 50 moving average. I'm putting it slightly below that. And we've got a decent enough range to that 23. Watch, we've got quite a bit of zone moving average, 50, 155 in there as well, but I like it with the stochastic down through 50 at the same time. I'm starting to get the early warning as well. I'm going to get my 1 minute grid in place. Green line, I think is opening price of the day. Six. 1 minute grid. Our 1 minute grid is pretty much the same as our extension fib. So we're going to put that in. That extension fib is actually going to move. So high to low. Make that low. Look at that 50 moving average holding us. I think my buy stop or my sell stop has been put up. And then on the DAX, let's get our 1 minute grid in first. Same story, high, low. Very similar right now. Let's grab any price in here. $42. Let's get this line out of the way. That's for opening range. Just a little bit later on. That line is a bit higher. There we go. An extension fib, that extension fib, because we closed, can actually run from low to high. That red, oopsie, not the pink. There we go. The trade there, 38 to 50, it was about 12 points. I missed that one, guys, sorry. I'm still trying. 38.2, that's holding 50 moving average. Stochastic did break. Look how it's fading at the 44. It is opening, so it's a little bit busy. You can see 1, 2, 3 candles, a little bit consolidated there. And then on the 5 minute grid on the NASDAQ, let's see if there's any changes there. This might change now. That would go quite good. No. There as well. Look at that lower lows. So lower lows there, high lows, low lows, and then high lows on the stochastic. We're going to give it a bit of space for opening and see if we're going to move that. So it is quite sideways. It's not unusual. It's not unusual. What I'm looking for now, yeah, if we get a 77% retracement on the extension fib, 38 to 23 should give us enough points. We've got 15 points. We can take that trade. But I need a 77% retracement there and move. The extension fib in the Dow should actually be the same. It should be from low to high. And if we look at that range, it's good enough for us as well. Very close to that 77% retracement. Really struggling with that 50%, that 50 moving average on the Dow, as well as that 38 on the 1 minute. On 5 minute, I don't see any real resistance, but the 127, the weekly high low, is a bit of a problem there. If we get to the 50 moving average on the 5 minutes, we should be okay. Still trying. It's holding, as I said, a bit of zone moving averages in our way here. To see if my TP is right. Yeah. I don't have any 5 minute targets to aim for. But we've got an opening range in the next 10 minutes or so. 77% replacement, yeah. I'm not quite interested in 38 to 50 after 38 to 23 just yet. Yeah, look at that zigzag stochastic on the down. That single line's catching up. So when I say it's just very sideways right now.
That's not unusual behavior after the points from last night. Actually, had the 500 point swings and stuff.
Sure, yeah, that moved. What for us in the 1 minute is nice. That's what you want to trade, you know. We need a little bit of spread there. The stochastic wants to follow through, but look how it's poking the 38 and then just pulling back. Check the 5 minute trend. Yeah, struggling to get that moving average crossover as well. The possibility of little A, B, C down. So that's really the trade that I've taken there. If we look at that, little A, B, C down. So distance for distance should equal seeing the 127, but we do have opening here, which can change matters a little bit. The zone moving average committee. It's down in 1 minute. When we get that moving average cross on 5, then obviously we've got trend on 5 minute down as well. We can start looking at some trend chases to the downside. Otherwise, for the upside, we need the 1 minute trend change. Look at that signal on how quickly it's caught up. Up on this trade for me will be a break of the 38.2 because then we're aiming for the 23. Even though I won't trade that because we didn't have quite a 77% replacement, I'd rather just take it from my stop. It's already been 7-8 minutes I'm sitting in the trade. Got so very close. I'd like to see those moving averages 8 and 21 get below 50. It's a clear confirmation of the downtrend. But my stochastic is struggling. $50 moving average of pounds was catching up. No separation for longness. Stochastic's below the 50.
Struggling with the follow.
Yeah, it is. 5 minute stochastic also took a little bit of a U-turn around that 38.2. Also struggling to follow through. Possible ABC up before we get that ABC down. Resistance is the 89 at the daily high low. So if it wants to try again, that signal line is below the 50, so no stochastic trigger, although that was our trigger a little bit earlier on, but I still picked up pretty much where we got that trigger on the stochastic, and you can just see how it went sideways. Break it this high and we'll get out. I'd rather take it again if it goes. The next candle, 6 minutes to go for opening range. Yes, this is an ugly opening, eh?
Yeah. It's very funny.
Getting ready to get out of this trade.
Just get opening range stuff pretty small.
Come out. Because again, I'll take it. What I will do is I'll wait for a break at that 61.8. I haven't got anything on the DAX at the moment except for possible stochastic up to 50. Five-minute trend is still up. If the 1 minute trend changes, we can start looking at some buy stops for trend chaser. Otherwise, if we both get 5 and 1 down, might be sitting up with some trend chasers to the downside. But ugly consolidation, yes. What we can do is just put a little block in here. So we want to break out of that. So in the 1 minute clip, there's still a possibility of ABC down. So I said if we can break the lows there, I'll take that trade still. Doesn't mean we're out of that consolidation area. Now the signal line just broke, but now after the stochastic, now the signal line at that stage is below. This is messy. The stochastic up to 50 on the NASDAQ on the DAX. I would take that trade with these ranges. We can do the same thing here. Let's put a consolidation between the 38 and the 61. So what's this 50 moving average on 5? Look how that's caught up. If we just put a line, yeah, that low there is where the 50 moving average for 5 minute is. I'm a bit hesitant to even take that short because of that 50. However, if that stochastic down to 38.2, we can get the follow through. Is it possible long stochastic up through 50? Stochastic did break on the NASDAQ, on the DAX. Only the NASDAQ, the DAX, the DAX, the NASDAQ. And it did hit that 23. 15 points if you caught that. Still right there. I didn't take it because we didn't have a perfect 77% replacement. Really care what happens after that. Minute to go for opening range. Yes, to get to 50 on the Dow is triggered. Minute to go, last minute candle before we've got our opening ranges. And that's messy. Oh, tiny range, eh?
Not that good.
Opening range. It's going to steal more nice levels. Okay, we start at least move now. We've got our opening range. Get some lines in here. Okay. Got a tiny opening range compared to what we used to, but if we look at first target, it's just under 50 points on the Dow. It's not too bad. In for levels. Let's see, I think our extension point might be anyway. It's not significant higher, but 89. We average to close above 89. Makes our ranges even tighter. I think we've done a little bit. Yeah. How is it?
Yeah.
I'm not even looking at that. Over to
US Tech and outstanding 86 point first targets.
fantastic. To 6.3. I was going to do the same for the DAX.
I just put my DAX up.
Just like I'm see where the lows and the highs are at least.
Precisely what could be needed to get these precise.
Signal line, consolidated on both markets. You can just see how sideways we are. Okay, and that's also back. Watch for the possibility of trend chases on the Dow now. It's up on 1 and 5. DAX is time to push. And then open range is in place. DAX as well. Stochastic down through 50. Look for a short Dow, NASDAQ. It's so sideways. There it is. But again, we've got such a tight range here. What's that, 11? 1 minute, if we look at that, that's still a possibility of A, B, C down. Again, we want to break 50 moving average of 5 and break out of this consolidation area on the extension before getting really interested in any of that. We're not going to just take trades for the sake of trading here because we'll overtrade. We can just see that the range is rubbish. We're not getting real follow through. Now, if we look at the 5 minutes, those zone moving averages, yes, yeah, that's horrible, especially on the DAX. Let's see what we've got. 61. Break the 61 to the 89. Got about 9 points. It's not great. Consolidation at the opening range.
Which was 550 moving average on 5 minute coming up, as well as lower moving.
Absolutely, that's pretty much in the same place there. That's right. So just playing, that's just playing around there. 155 on 5 as well. Yeah, look at that, good turn around. Ooh, something happening.
You take part on that.
I don't know how long ago I took it to the top.
Other.
Coming up to that 50 moving average support to the down, below the consolidation area. Now if we can get a 5 minute trigger, start looking again. There's really nothing at the moment. Get that moving average of 5, we can start looking at the bias of sell stops for trend chaser. But we had that on the upside just now. That just shows you how we're up and down, zigzagging through the 50 moving average in the 1 minute. And that stochastic signal line is just sparking inside that consolidation area. Signal lines below 50. Sure. This is a tedious.
No, not
Or just stochastic up to 50. Sure. It's tight. I mean, look at the zone moving averages on 1 minute.
I cross an opening range max.
I think this is an off day. Look at this market. A little bit of news that's coming out in this after this Thursday. So we always get news on Thursdays. Hopefully that's going to give it a bit of push. But again, I mean, it's not unusual for the market to act this way after FOMC. Let's see if we're going to get that figure. They're starting to push a little bit. The trend is down on 1 minute. The trend is up on 5 minutes. That hasn't crossed over yet. I can't even look at trend traces. And it's still 50 moving average support, as Monet says. What's the possibility of the double bottom? That's 638.2 of the opening range. Holding 61.8 the next stage as well. Starting to break. Close on 5 minutes, break previous candle low. Is a trigger for a short dip. Finally starting to break the 50 moving average. However, our zone moving average is so close to each other with no zones to aim for here. Again, it just breaks and then pulls back. Now it's going to find support in the 155. Stochastic up at 50 again for possibility of trigger long. Getting a signal, 50 moving average is in our way. I'm not going to take it because 50 moving average resistance, 38.2 there, 50 on the 1 minute grid, 50 level of the opening range. And this range has just been horrible. Possible separation for a short net. 5-minute trend though, yes, it didn't confirm. We got that red candle close, new 5-minute candle, and then it's kind of just pulled back up. So stochastic is triggered long. But finding huge resistance right now. Okay. It's just telling us not to trade. The ranges are getting tighter and tighter. At one stage, it'll break. It could be tomorrow. It could be later. I'll be back in a sec. All right, guys, I don't really have any setups at the moment. We are so sideways. It's a 50 moving average. The trend has changed on 5 minute. We can see that as confirmed right now. Possibility of trend chases, but we need to break lows here before we can even look at that. It's so sideways. So we've got to be very careful here to not overtrade unless you're scalping 1-2 points, you know. This is not fun. On that note, I think I'm going to call it. 9 hour will be posted in the next 10 minutes or so. I'm not going to sit and waste everybody's time here. Let's go. I can look at bigger time frames, different markets, maybe. We'll do some other work. I'll be back this afternoon. If we don't speak again, have a wonderful day. Hopefully the market will pick up a little bit. As I say, a bit of news coming out at 2:30. So maybe that will give us a little bit of a push, and we'll see what opening does a little bit later. Thanks, everyone.